we were in Barbies at the time.
Oh,
a lot of people
from
didn't know.
Barbies?
What? Man, listen.
You have a Barbie store? Let me hear it.
By the way, you talk about I mean, he's not gonna place that.
That's before the bridge or after the bridge?
Listen.
I always ask this before or after the bridge.
After the bridge. Bro, I am all the way in. I grew up all the way in number 65 village.
65?
Yeah.
I drive there often.
I know
That is
about
a long
walking.
drive.
Yeah, I know about walking to 63 Beach. Yeah, bro. Molson Creek, we used to go there for fun.
Oh, God.
Skeldon, that's my
cannot imagine
place.
that. I could
Yeah,
not
and no
imagine
one would ever think of it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the AviDoct Podcast. We are starting our new season, which is season number 2.
Yeah.
We are referring to this season as Becoming, where we will have with us a number of influencers from Guyana whom voices are heard. They're well known in the streets of Georgetown. And on our first episode, we will have none other than Mr. Alanzo Scipio. Tonight, he will be joining us, and I must say his voice, which is not only heard on social media, but he does have a journey to share with us, where he started, where he came from, and where he is today. So allow me to introduce to you guys Alanzo.
Hi, guys, friends and fans of the AviDoct Podcast. First, I want to say thank you to LaSalle and Khadijah for having me this evening. I'm actually in Khadijah's seat tonight. I don't think I can carry the weight that she carries, but I think I'll do a fair good job. Two first disclaimers. I know you might see our attires tonight. LaSalle did not give me a debriefing on my short pants, so I didn't wear short pants tonight. I didn't wear a sporty fit, but I try my best. Secondly, I know you mentioned influencers, and I know a lot of you guys probably thinking, who's this guy? For me, while we have that term influencer, I just think I'm a guy that talks a lot. And, a lot of people listen to my talking. So, my name is Alanzo, and welcome to the podcast.
Well, to be honest, when we use the term influencers, with Khadija and I, we really try not to use it loosely.
Yeah.
In most instances, we find whenever we say influencers, we are referring to people who have an impact whenever they speak. And, upon following your social media, I can see that whenever you post anything, it reaches a lot of viewers, or a lot of people would view it and comment. And of course, it have an impact on what people on people's lives. So more than less, that's the reason why I would refer to you as an influencer. Fair enough. A lot of people, we can both agree, would say I'm an influencer, but can we really?
Yeah, I try not to take on the self-praise title of being an influencer, because the definition is very, very complex here in Guyana.
Yeah.
So people do anything and you call them influencers. For me personally, I will get more into the story, but I just feel as though whenever I share something, whenever I decide to write, whether it's a joke or something serious, I believe that it shifts whatever mood is it at a time.
Yeah.
If it's a somber mood, we have to go in, then we go into a somber mood. Mm-hmm. If it's a happy mood, we go into a happy mood.
Most definitely.
I've never really seen the impact of my writings or even to my humor until recently.
Mm-hmm.
People shared, okay, this thing really touched them. They met me at a public location. I was like, yo, this thing really really touched me, and I'm really surprised that it was a rambling of conversation, but to the point that I am most times taken aback by when people see me in public. It's like, oh, I know you, I know you.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you even share that story, because it brings me to the point now where we have never met before.
Yeah.
The influences cricket.
Yes.
Right. That's the first time we met, and it's funny how all I did was message this guy. I was like, "Yo, you gotta put me on your team, bro."
Yeah.
And then I came now as the whole foreign player, and it was a whole vibe, and allow me to say, before we even go further, that I was mad about that cricket, bro.
Yeah, I was mad.
I was pissed about that cricket.
We did terrible.
It's not even the fact that we did terrible. It's that, bro, my whole family came. I didn't bat. I didn't bowl. A 2-ball came to me. Bro,
I think you made 2 catches.
Bro, listen, I can't even remember doing that. But to be honest, my entire family was there. Even my sister, to this day, she would say, I ain't going to no more you cricket match. You just only stand up in the cool shade while everybody's in the sun. But nonetheless, it was quite an experience. And I saw that they're coming back with another.
Yeah, I saw the guys tried. Yeah,
season 2 or part 2 of it. Let's see how it goes. I hope it's a success. But without further ado, allow me to say tonight we are shooting this episode in the Bluebell Cafe, located here in Georgetown on Sheriff Street.
Yeah.
It has a great ambiance. The environment is soothing. It is one that you can come and feel comfortable.
Definitely.
And of course, get work done, or even chill with friends, family, and have a great vibe. The food is amazing, and like we mentioned in the last episode, it's 10 out of 10. Though we are not trying the food tonight, we have drinks with us, and before we leave, we'll definitely give a rating as to what it was like and how good it was. So Alanzo, allow me to ask, have you ever been to Bluebell Cafe before?
Funny thing, this is the first time.
Yeah. Oh, this is your first time visiting.
First time
so what do you think about it?
To be honest, I'm really captivated. I like the simplicity of it. I saw photos online of different persons coming here, but this vibe really is modern. It gives me something similar to Paris.
Oh.
Right? It gives me this very simple, sleek design. And I think if it's the same owner that had this place previously, I think the person has a very niche touch when it comes to ambience and more so interior designs. For me, he always does this very unique, out of the box ideas, which is, and this is very good. I think this is very, very good.
All right, amazing. So again, allow me to say, this is the Bluebell Cafe located on Sheriff Street, Georgetown. And if you guys want to have a nice drink, nice environment, somewhere to have fun, you can come out. They have games available. Just enjoy the ambiance. So Alanzo, without further ado, allow me to say this is our takeoff segment.
Yeah.
This is where we are now going airborne. And I want to ask you, what can you tell us about young Alanzo? What is young Alanzo like?
Right. So young Alanzo, I grew up on the East Bank. So my upbringing was not, it wasn't strange. It was familiar in most households, but I grew up with my grandmom.
Oh.
May her soul rest in peace. My Amranian grandmom. She would have taken over my custody from a very small age.
Yeah.
Because at the time, my mom worked a lot, and my mom and my father, even though they were together, they weren't living together. So I would stay with her sometimes, and then she would bring me to my grandmom.
Yeah.
And I would stay. So, but most of my life, I found myself living at my grandmom's house, right? And from there, I went to school, because the school's about like 5 minutes away from the house. Both schools, nursery and primary, they were about five minutes away. So I did most of my schooling there. We grew up in a Christian home. So while extended family, it was a Christian home. Everyone was primarily Christian. So my grandmother had instilled Christian values, morals from early, from the onset. So since school, I know about saying the Lord's Prayer from since I was very small. Besides that, they were very literate people, very highly literate people. So they appreciated reading a lot. Yeah. Remember reading my first newspaper is completely from front to back at 3 years old.
3?
Yeah. So I learned to read very, very young. And everything that I found in the house, I just ran around and I read it. Yeah. So I learned to read at a very early age. So my upbringing, while it wasn't the best, I think I can take much positive out of it. I wasn't exposed to like, you know, for many young kids growing up, like they have time where they would play marbles and run in the yard and ride bicycles to your bruise up your knee. I think I didn't have that until I was probably about 12, 13. When I actually got back my mom and my dad together living.
Yeah.
That's when I actually had that freedom. My grandma was very overprotective in some sense.
Of you.
Right? So she didn't allow me to do most things that a young child would have done. Because she had this, I don't know, this way of growing kids.
Yeah.
In some sense that it was very conservative.
Man, you know, it's funny you share that with us because it's sort of similar with me. As much as my mom and my dad were both present in my life, they separated when I was somewhere around grade 6, right? But my mom, like you said, your mom was always working. My mom, she worked, and we were in Barbies at the time.
Oh,
you know, a lot of people didn't know. What? Man, listen.
You have a Barbie store? Let me hear it.
By way of that, I mean, he's not good in place
that's before the bridge or after the bridge? I always ask this before or after the bridge.
After the bridge. Bro, I am all the way in, I grew up all the way in number 65 village.
65?
Yeah.
I drive there often.
I know
that
about
is a long
walking.
drive.
Yeah, I know about walking to 63 Beach. Yeah, bro. Molson Creek, we used to go there for fun.
Oh, God.
Skeldon, that's my place.
That.
Yeah, you know, and no one would ever think of it. But I grew up with my grandmother too. Majority of my time in Barbies was with my grandmother.
Okay.
You know, she came back from London and she was there with me. So we have this connection and this bond that you spoke about that, you know, if you really experienced it, you know exactly what that is.
Definitely.
It is something that you can't take for granted. And it's funny, I did not lose my grandmother, but she has a stroke. Okay. And to see that she can't be vibrant and do all the things that she normally does aches my heart.
Yeah.
You know, so I try to do everything. Like I got her a motorized scooter, the 4-wheel non-tilt one. I got her that and she was overjoyed by it. I tried to get devices that can help her bring back muscle memory and stuff like that. So the little that I can do, I definitely try to be helpful in some way possible. However, allow me to ask, so prior to being where you are now, were you always this opinionated person? Or, you know, according to Kadi, I'm gonna say what Kadi said, were you always expensive?
I don't know where Kadi get that from.
Well, you know, she followed that whole BMW story, you know.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
She followed the BMW story.
That
so
was the whole thing. I have a crazy backstory for that.
Let us fast forward to that. Let's hear that story.
So, boy, that BMW story is so crazy. You know, before that, where I used to work before I work now, I was browsing through, like, you know, cars I wanted. And at that time, I was looking at a Mitsubishi, a white Mitsubishi. Because I think that's what I could afford at that time. But for some reason, I never got around to purchasing that car. Yeah. Right? So, you know, change jobs and, you know, jobs come with some stuff. So I was like asking a few of my friends, you know, some other folks that I know, you know, what do you think about me getting, you know, a car? Like, what do you think? And I threw some brands in, and I said, yo, I'm thinking get an Audi. I want to get an Audi, right? And remember, I'm just getting a car for the first time.
Yeah, I could only imagine what was mentioned with that,
bro. And everyone like, no, don't get the Audi, That's that's just expensive maintenance. You know. So I called my mentor and I said, yo, I'm trying to get the Audi. What do you think? He said the same thing. I said, all right, fine, cool. I'm not gonna get the Audi. I'm gonna look around and I'm gonna see what else I can get. And then the crazy thing is that one of the persons that said to me, yo, don't get the Audi. Don't look into the Audi. I saw the person, I think, a couple of weeks after or a month after with an Audi. And the time I mean this person having this conversation, they were driving like a regular car. I'm like, why you tell me don't get the Audi? You go and get the Audi. So at that point, I was like,
the hypocrisy.
What really going on?
What exactly is happening here?
So, but I was like, probably he had that all the time coming and he had experiences before me. So I don't know. Nevertheless, I gave benefit of the doubt and I said, you know what, let me get a BMW.
Something that you like.
Something that I like.
Yeah.
So I talked to a friend and he was showing me like, and these are the types that we have. And the car came and all that sort of stuff like that. You know, and I don't know if it's how I grew or the humility that I was clothed with from my grandmom, because she's a very humble lady.
Yeah.
Right? She could be having millions of dollars and you would not even know.
You won't know.
And when I got the car, and this is probably the first time I'm sharing this, when I got the car, like, I felt a kind of way as in, bro, you're doing too much right now. Like, for some reason at that time, I was thinking, yo, you're doing too much at this time. Like, why even order? You could have gone for a simpler stuff. You know, you could have gone for an Axie or something of the sort.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and that, when I started feeling, I started self-convicting myself, thinking that, you know, when people see me with this car, they can think, oh, I'm being boastful, or I'm bragging about what it is. Well, it's one thing. I remember we had a conversation sometime, and you shared me your journey, you know, where you with work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, out of that conversation, what I got, you know, I heard was your hard work.
Yeah.
And how much it is good to really rejoice and celebrate your hard work.
Celebrate your hard work. Yeah, because, you know, getting a car, sometimes people think it's just, oh, buying a vehicle, it takes me from point A to point B. It's really not. You know, in most instances, as much as that is true, you have to be comfortable in that vehicle. Yeah. You know, and I can give you a story about when I bought my vehicle. So
that a Tesla?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So
wow.
I got a
Tesla.
Tesla.
I never got you owed me a drop. I never got the Tesla. I never got the drop. So I'm gonna mention that for those who are watching right now. Man. To this day, what we have is it 2025 we at. I was supposed to get a drop with a Tesla. I never got a drop, but I'm still holding to his word. He's a very faithful man.
I'm gonna do it. But yeah, I'm telling you. So when I bought that car, Kadi actually didn't even know I bought it. Yeah, because we were looking. We were shopping cars. We were window shopping a lot. We went to Toyota. We went to Lexus. We went to Mercedes. We went to Jaguar. And we loved every vehicle we got in. Yeah. But for some strange reason, I was like, you know what? All of these cars, they're asking for a high down payment. They're asking for so much. Not that I can't afford it, but when you look at Tesla, it was $100 down payment. Yeah. So $100 and you secure the car, and then you go and get your financing from your financial institution. And you wait the 2 months or the 3 months for them to put the VIN number to the vehicle and stuff like that. I remember getting up and just telling Kadi, hey, I just bought the car that I like. Yeah. Bro, the facial expression she gave me, I was scared, but to be honest, I had to man up. You know, I stand up at the door because I said if she pelted me with something, dodge it. Stand up there and I said, I bought the car that I like. It's like, was it a Tesla? Bro, Kadi looked at me and said, is that what you want? Yeah. Yes. I bought it already. There's no turning back. She loved that car more than I love that car. Yeah. So I don't regret it. If you want something, if you work for it, you earn enough money to buy it, you buy it, pamper yourself, and take care of it. But you also have to keep in the back of your mind that as much as, yes, I can afford it now, you always have to remember that you don't want to hang your hat to where your hand can't reach. Yeah, correct. Because the monthly payments is fine. Yeah. But when you fall back on something that you really can't make that payment, it's a whole lot.
Yeah, so I worked it out. All the maths and everything. I'm like, yo, you can afford this. Yeah. You can afford this. You know, and I think sometimes when you don't come from much, and you're now trying to come up on a certain level, sometimes you have to fight against that thought in your mind that is speaking and saying, yo, you don't deserve this. You don't deserve nice things. Sometimes you yourself can tell yourself that you don't deserve nice things. And when I got that car, the comments were crazy. Like, I heard people, even people I thought we were good, I heard them really talking and said stuff about, okay, he's boasting, and one time reached out to one of the young ladies I used to talk to in the past, like, oh, I see your friend buy thing now. I'm like, it's the craziest thing ever. It's the craziest thing ever. I shared a story about where I came from and where I'm at right now, because I'm driving on the road I used to walk and sell icicles on, plant and chip on. And you can't tell me, especially black men growing up, you can't tell me that does not give you a certain jelly feeling.
That is true. And I'm going to say this. No. I think we connect because we have a lot of similarities with regards to our upbringing.
Yeah.
Because you said you sold icicle on the road.
Icicle, platin chips, tamarind ball, name it.
Bro.
I sold it.
In grade 6.
In grade 6.
In grade 6, I sold pastries with my mom.
Yeah.
Walking on the road. And I'll tell you this. The worst experience I had was when one day I stayed home from lesson because we had to sell pastries.
Yeah.
And mommy said, "Boy, don't shame. We got to make this money." I said, "Yeah." You buy walking around, you sell pint tart, cheese roll, nice things. When we were approaching the lessons, I crossed the street. It's a mean guy in there. Because I had my little girlfriend, got my little girlfriend. The girl used to teach me for plait hair and thing. Nice Indian girl.
Caddy.
No, it's not Caddy.
No, I learned the caddy right now.
Caddy watching me, I'm feeling the look, but it's all right. But mommy said, we going in the lesson. Alanzo, I know my mom's going to listen to this episode. I was so ashamed
My God.
to go in and sell that thing. But you know what happened? Everything sold out.
Yeah.
Each and every one of it sold out. See, from that point onwards, lessons is it.
Yeah.
Sell out, me I walk and go no way. So the similarities thus far that I'm hearing now is like, this is why me and this guy connect.
From grade 6, from grade 6, I started selling, like, my mom used to work. She was like, my dad at the time, he was like a self-employed.
Yeah.
And there wasn't like much work going on. My mom would have, she would have used to make these things to sell. And in the after school, I would go out and sell them and then use the cash to like go to school for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So from grade 6, I started. I had to bear the shame.
Yeah.
If you didn't bear the shame, you didn't go to school.
You can't go no way.
Right?
But now that we're on the topic of school, tell us more about your credentials and what are some of the accomplishments you got academically.
Right. So for me, I never. I was always a good performer in school. Right. But like for some reason, like when it comes to like diving into specialities and stuff like that, I never took the time. But I did it. I eventually did it. I did a BSc in digital communications. I actually did my, at this time recording, I finished my final paper for computer science and cybersecurity.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get another degree in about a few months.
That's good, man. That's good.
Right?
I'm proud of you.
So at the time, I was like thinking about getting, that. But I think over time, I understood that, while poverty or borderline poverty, there are ways to help reduce it by self-sufficiency. Additionally, one of the ways to help that is education. You see, when you're educated, you give yourself more opportunities to earn more, to raise your income standard in your income. So I understood that, and I say, hey, bro. So even though you have this skill, even though you have this, get qualified. Because one of the things that I know of most young people in Guyana, that they know a skill, they know a talent, but they don't have a certificate to back that talent. And I knew about coding, I knew about video editing, I knew about most of these things, but I didn't have the certification for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, let me get the certification so I have that to show that, this is what I have.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So I see now you are with CARICOM,
Yes.
right? What was that transition like from government agency to CARICOM?
To be honest, I was excited.
Mm-hmm.
I was really excited. Pause. I don't have a link for a job at CARICOM. So in case, I just want to add that in.
But why you just said
it?
This was my next
No,
question. My next
because
question was like, bro, you could pull me in, or
every time I say I work that place, people like, oh, can you give me a job? But I was excited. But at one point, I was like, am I gonna get this job? Because it was really competitive. It was really I was competing against persons from different parts of the Caribbean region for this post. Okay, it was a very highly sought after post.
Yeah.
And they were setting, and I went through a rigorous application process. After submitting the application, they put you through testings. I did about 3 testings back to back, facing a whole panel of people. And it was like, I think it was around December. It's around December. And, for some reason, I said to myself, you know what? This is my last month here at my previous job.
yeah,
I'm not going to stay here for January.
okay.
And I resigned without having a confirmation
from your previous employer.
from my current employer. So they didn't confirm that I had the job.
You resigned without getting a confirmation from CARICOM yet.
Correct.
Okay.
I didn't even get a shred of confirmation. But I told Parliament, yo, I'm going to go.
You know what that's called? A leap of faith.
Yep. I told him, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
January 31st, I am leaving. I was saying that thing in my head. 30 days of September, April, June, and November. I was trying to see if January have 30.
Trust me, if you'd have said it wrong, thank God you would have started clapping.
I can't believe I just did.
But
Right.
listen.
So I said to myself, yo, January 31st, I'm out. I told them. They were like, yo, you can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, why you can't leave? And that's why I can't leave. They're like, no, we don't have anybody to replace you right now. X, Y, Z. Give us some time.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay. So I said, how much time more you guys need? They said, okay, just give them time. We can get back to you. So they were trying to negotiate doubling the salary or matching the salary CARICOM was giving.
Oh.
So I was like,
So didn't you tell him like a higher salary?
I was like, okay. And I researched the post.
Mm-hmm.
And the post was, and they were like, no.
So they didn't want to match the $2 million that you're making now.
I'm not confirming $2 million for those online. I'm not confirming. But they didn't want to match the salary.
Mm-hmm.
They did not want to match the salary because the matching the salary would mean I would be like I would be like a very high, paying officer in Parliament. So they didn't want to match the salary. So I said, okay, fine, cool. 31st January, I'm gone. Midway of January, I got my confirmation. Hey, you got the job. Pick up your contract. And from there, that was it.
So with that confirmation, what, if you don't mind sharing, what's your job title right now with CARICOM?
Right. So I'm one of the senior communications technicians. So basically, I do everything technical when it comes to communication.
Yeah.
From websites to videos to photos, everything in the back end.
So y'all hear that, guys? I got a big body friend. Don't feel the man does run CARICOM communication page. So Alanzo, we would have gotten to our cruising altitude, and what I want to ask you now is, you bring a lot of humor whilst addressing real issues on social media.
Yeah.
The big question here is, how do you find that balance with regards to doing that?
I think the having a humorous side of me, I take things serious. I take most things serious. I'm not always jokey.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a very serious portfolio. But what I find is like sometimes to address certain things, to have matters discussed really and truly, you gotta reach people where they at. You gotta become as relative, as you can become. You have to be able to relate to them in some sense. And what I found is that when I address these serious issues and there is some sort of humor in it, there is much more attentiveness. People are paying attention to it and they laugh, but there's a serious, issue being addressed here. Sometimes you make a serious post, but you look it over because it's too serious at the start.
Yeah.
You don't get the attention, you don't get what you want from the post. So what I try to do is incorporate a little bit of smile, a little laughter, so you find something amusing about it. And what I try to do is not to talk the big boy talk, not to use the big languages, perplexing and pertinent. Keep it real, down to earth, Guyanese kind of thing.
And that's good.
Newsto, I spelled Newsto NEWSTO. Newsto. This is the kind of way we talk. That may not be a word, but that's the way we talk. And I find that it's more appealing to people. They can read like that.
That brings me to I just wake up is wapoon.
Yes, it's relative.
Yeah. So is it hard showing up professionally when people know that you normally kicks on social media like
Definitely. I've had that I won't say issue, but it's like a reality sometimes. People are like, oh, this boy y'all's clown, he's on Facebook. People see me in courts, people see me, like, hey, y'all's a clown. But really and truly, when we get down to it, it's like, oh, he can hold a serious conversation. He speaks in certain issues. But what I find, especially in social media and Guyanese culture, we don't want to talk about the things that we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Right? We don't want to address these things. And you speak about them and then we just look at it, we laugh, we move on, and we just, sometimes it's best to keep things on the humorous side. But I've had those challenges, being in, my professional space. Be like, oh, you're just coming here, guy. But I don't take it on much. Nothing to worry about in some sense. But I believe that I can have a balance. And, if you speak to me long enough, you know that, I'm not most of jokes or humor, if you want to call it. But I do enjoy make sure people are happy.
Yeah.
They can laugh, they can smile. And, that's my strong side.
So, Alanzo, we have enjoyed our takeoff. It was a smooth takeoff. We enjoyed our cruising altitude. And now we are going to get into our descent. And with our descent, we are going to talk more about growth.
Yeah.
With that, it brings me to ask the question. You spoke about young days. You spoke about your current position. What about business ventures in Guyana? What is it like being an entrepreneur? Tell us about the entrepreneurial aspect of life.
Yeah. So right now I'm not into business right now. Because of the fact, of course, I work and I'm not supposed to be involved in business right now.
Okay.
But before that, before where I'm working right now, I was involved in business. It was a good run while I was at it. It was a good run while I was at it. I mean, we had some ruffling feathers at the end. However, that worked out. It worked out.
Yeah.
But I've learned some valuable lessons from that couple of years, that if I do decide to leave my current job and decide to go fully into business, that I can take and move forward with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was that experience with a joint venture? Like, was it a partnership or was it a sole proprietor business?
It was more so partnerships. As much as it is, partnerships can be very complicated at times.
Yeah.
Right? Complicated at times. We find sometimes you find issues like workload management, who's managing the workload, who's doing that. But it can be it wasn't all bad or rough. We had good seasons, but just that sometimes growth will require you to leave certain spaces. Right. So I left that, but I know for sure that if I do decide to go into business fully, after my current job, I know that I take a few good lessons from that experience to really and truly move forward with. Things I learned from dealing with clients, dealing with even partners, dealing with, let's say, for instance, investments and stuff like that, finances. I've learned a lot that I can take going forward.
Yeah. And I have some stories I can share with regards to that partnership thing too. In Guyana, you find that a lot goes on with regards to partnership, a lot. Sometimes people don't understand how serious partnership really is, but being in a partnership, there are a lot of do's and don'ts that you have to understand.
Yeah.
Like getting a joint venture agreement signed. That was one of the mistakes I made that, trust me, I'll never ever make that mistake again if I do decide to get into a partnership again. But Alanzo, do you think this chapter helped to shape who you are now?
Definitely, yeah. Because I'm not an island. Never saw myself as an island, so I need supportive people. I needed the support. I sometimes I can sacrifice myself for the sake of others, if I have to. But I believe that how the experience shaped me, it allowed me to understand that you can do some things on your own, and you need to do some things with some people.
Yeah.
Right? But I know for sure that definitely in my next chapter, I have a more forefronted view as to how I should do things. And if I have to take that leap alone, more likely I will. And if people come on to the end or whatever stage they come on to, I know how to manage them.
Gotcha.
I know how to deal with them. I know how to carve the expectations from that experience. So I know how to really and truly not make the same mistakes that I made earlier. One of the things that you mentioned was a partnership agreement that I didn't have it as well. So you found that when things started going a bit, there's nothing to bind anyone together or bind any agreement together. So basically you are working on a blank slate.
Gotcha.
And you're working on good faith. Whoever feels though they can act in good faith, they act in good faith.
They act in good faith.
Yeah.
All right. This brings me to our cheers moment, where we would normally mention what our takeaway was from this conversation. And what I'll do is I'll allow you to go first. Tell me what your takeaway was from this conversation that we had.
Apart from the fact that we have so much in common when it comes to our upbringing, I can say that we both grew up somewhat country-ish, and we both sold pastry or icicle. But apart from that, I really, on a serious note, what I can take away is that I think we can establish and understand that sometimes the journey really has a good ending.
Yeah. And that's positive.
It really has a good ending, and you owe it to yourself to celebrate your hard work.
Yeah. And that is exactly what my cheers moment would have been. Whenever you work hard for something, you want to always celebrate your accomplishments. If you put in the hard work, you would have gone to school for all the credentials you have. You applied for jobs not knowing what the outcome would have been. You secure those jobs. When the finances are rolling in, pamper yourself whenever possible.
Definitely.
All right. So that's my takeaway from this conversation. So Alanzo, allow me to thank you for being here and sharing your journey, reminding us that growth is not always loud.
Yeah.
It's layered, intentional, and personal.
Definitely.
So everyone, again, thanks for tuning in to the AviDoct Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on every platform, our Instagram, our Facebook page, our YouTube page at AviDoct Podcast. You can email us at AviDoct Podcast, and we'll be sure to share our handles. Alanzo's handle will pop up on the screen. Alanzo, if you don't mind, you can tell us what your handle is.
So I use Instagram mostly now. Funny thing, I was actually making a joke recently on Instagram that I'm starting my content creation journey.
Yeah.
Right, so I'll probably get into some sharing of some conversations and stuff that I probably enjoy. But X_remnant is my Instagram handle. On Facebook is really public, Alonzo Scipio, And I must say shout out to Bluebell. This is an awesome latte, by the way.
Yeah,
it's an
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
The taste just came down. It was a very awesome latte. If you want to have the best lattes in Ghana, it's not a paid plug, by the way. This is an endorsement. Right now, endorsements are going through the windows because it's election time.
Yeah.
But I'm endorsing Bluebell. So
Cafe.
my vote is for Bluebell.
Gotcha. All right. Again, this is the Bluebell Cafe, where you enjoy the best lattes in town. Located again on Sheriff Street, Georgetown. So, Alanzo, again, thanks for being here with us on the AviDoct Podcast. And with that said, we are going to say